And welcome back. Well, today a true story of a lamb named Peanut. The farmers noticed Peanut was different than the other lambs. She stayed close to her mother and she showed no interest in her siblings.
Imagine that, right? No interest in her siblings. She also seemed, though, to listen to even the smallest of noises, and that's when they realized she was blind. This book, Peanut of Blind Faith Farm, reveals the joyful story about how this little lamb overcame big challenges to become a happy and healthy member of her flock. The author and farmer is JIm Thompson, and Cheryl Orgas is the executive director of a Milwaukee nonprofit that is called Audio and Braille Literacy Enhancement. When she heard about the book, she knew it had to become a Braille edition, and they have now published 700 to date.
It's so great to have you guys.
Both of you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Let's talk about this incredible book because it's about an animal. But what I love is because you so seldom see books where the main character has a disability. I think it's very meaningful for kids with disabilities as well.
Absolutely. One of the endorsements that we got talks exactly to that, when you introduce kids to a disability, when it's framed happy and positive, and certainly Peanut's story is happy and positive, it sort of changes their idea of normal, and it's not scary. So it's resonated with many communities that way.
Well, and it's interesting to know that not many books are published with the main character who has disabilities. It's like a dozen since 2005. So the amount of books that's reaching kids with disabilities and also helping kids without disabilities develop compassion and empathy is very low. So this is a very important piece of children's literature.
Thank you. Well, that was part of the early research when I when I realized that since '05, there had only been a couple of handfuls of children's books in general, where the main character has a disability. That seemed to me a very underrepresented niche in literacy. So it wasn't with that in mind necessarily to write the book that way. Just let the story speak for itself.
Yeah.
But that was a very important, kind of a shocking statistic to me, that of the underrepresentation. So I'm glad to be part of that.
And what's so important about this story is that it shows that a blind lamb can adapt to her environment, and that's a great message for blind and sighted children about how it is that one can just adapt using other senses.
Well, Cheryl, you're blind. Were you born blind?
I was.
Okay.
I was.
What would it have meant as a child growing up who didn't have sight to have a book like this and be able to relate to a character like Peanut?
There are so many messages out there about negativity with a disability that growing up as a blind child, to just have such a positive message about blindness. I had such a strong message from home that I could do anything I wanted to do, but then out in the world I would get other messages, and this would have been really special to be able to read at night before bed. As it was, I had a reputation for, after the lights were out, I was still reading in bed with, you know, I could do it in Braille, and to have this book.
It's a Braille edition, and that's what you have on your lap here. Yeah, hold it there if you would, because it's a different format. It's a little bit wider, and you can see the Braille along the top of it and the bottom. And there's actually, before we get to having you read just a little bit, I want to talk about Peanut, because it's a true story, and we'll sort of set this up and then let you read, Cheryl. Thank you so much. Because what I think is fascinating is how you discover even that an animal is blind. And one of the things I found most fascinating is that Peanut had to be taught things like even how to lie down.
Yeah.
Which you never think of.
No, you don't. That animals, many of them take visual cues from their environment, even as newborns. And it was very telling that a couple things happened that tipped me off, and that was Peanut's use of her head, neck, and ears. Constantly turning her head, neck, and ears, trying to understand her environment by listening. So she clearly was dialed into what was going on. She was making it happen for herself. It was just through hearing, because she couldn't see. And the lying down part, my lovely wife, Farmer Laura, in the book, we realized that after Peanut had been standing as a newborn for about 8 hours, she needed to lie down, but she wasn't. She just needed a little bit of help. So Laura went into the enclosure and folded her legs up for her, and that was it. From that time forward, she got it.
Well, I think it's and that's Peanut we're watching. Now she's a sheep because she's grown up. She's no longer a little
Correct.
lamb.
Yep.
But you know, one thing that's interesting to me too is that she's so outgoing and social. In fact, more social than other lambs. Some lambs are real shy, you say.
Yes.
She didn't have that. And my initial inclination would be she would be more shy. But was that surprising to you?
A little bit at first. I thought she'd be more fearful,
Right.
and for the first day or two, that was the case. But it seemed as if as she became aware that she couldn't rely on sight, she had to rely on other cues, and one of those cues was my voice, Laura's voice, and that we were calm and
Trustworthy.
Yeah, trustworthy. That's what she dialed into. So she made use of the tools that she had, which really was impressive.
And you make the point in the book, too, that being blind, that you could maybe consider that she wouldn't survive with that disability.
That's
So
right.
it's wonderful with that guiding hand. Cheryl, you have the book there. Would you read just a little bit from it for us?
I'm going to read my very favorite paragraph. It's the last paragraph of the book. Peanut showed the farmer and his wife that a blind sheep can do almost anything. In a short time, she became a respected member of her flock and the star of what is now called Blind Faith Farm.
Aww. That was really cool watching you read Braille, too.
Yes, I think so, too.
Yeah.
Isn't that remarkable?
Yes.
It is. Well, we got to talk about Pancake, too, because this is incredible. Word got out about Peanut. There's Pancake. So there was a farmer, actually, in another state
So happy.
who heard about Peanut and said, hey, will you take my blind sheep also?
Exactly. You know, they reached out to us. They had a blind lamb, and she was about 3 months old. Still nursing. They have a very large flock. They were wonderful shepherds, but they just realized that they felt they couldn't care for her. So they'd heard about the book, and that we'd been with Peanut had been with us born on our farm, and was almost an 8-year-old. So they reached out, and I went down and took a look at them, and of course Laura went along with me for the second trip, and it was not like there was ever any choice.
I love that.
Yeah, so she came home with us on Mother's Day along with her mom.
Cute.
And they're now integrated fully into Peanut's flock. And just the other night I went in and noticed Pancake and Peanut sleeping.
Hanging out.
Yeah, hanging out and bedded down together.
That's
Half of all the
adorable.
proceeds of the sale of this book are going to benefit the Blind Faith Farm, and donate. You're going to donate half of that to deserving kids for Braille books at no charge. So really cool that you're doing that. BlindFaithFarm.com is the website to learn more about how to get your book of Peanut as well, and learn a little bit more.
Can people get a Braille copy of the book there too? Because we're going to
Or
share this
only at
other
this
website. Is this a website that people need to visit then for a Braille copy of the book?
Is it the Able website?
ablenow.org, absolutely.
Okay, so if people go to ablenow.org, that's how they can put their hands on, get their hands on a copy of Peanut of Blind Faith Farm in the Braille
That's
edition.
correct. If they'd like a Braille edition right off the bat, they can go to ablenow.org and order one.
Yeah.
If they purchase through blindfaithfarm.com a print copy of the book, half of those proceeds go directly to Able to make more Braille books
great.
to give to blind kids at no charge.
Oh, you guys are wonderful. I know you got a grandbaby on the way, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and thank
that's
you
wonderful.
so much.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much.
you, Cheryl, for
Thanks
sharing.
for this opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
That was
Thanks
great.
again, both of you.